Hello, everyone. How's it going? It is me, Victoria Baxter of Saved and Single Ministry, coming before you, continuing on, even though I took a little break for a couple of days, but continuing on with the whole One Flesh series. And of course, with this, if this is your first time tuning in, it was just, me looking at a couple of different, scriptures and some things tying together. So I started a little mini series talking about one flesh. And it's really coming from when we look at Genesis 2:24. And it says, that is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. So I wanted to talk about this because of many different things. When you hear, different people talking about, especially women, I deal with women, but when you hear women talk about wanting to get married and certain things, but they don't realize as single women how a lot of things they are doing now, how it's kind of getting in the way of their future marriage, or maybe it's some things that they have not yet dealt with, some things they have not properly processed, or some things that they have not yet understood as it actually pertains to marriage. So again, one flesh, because it's understanding whatever is connected to you. When you get married, it is going to be connected to your husband. When you get married, whatever is connected to your husband that he has potentially and possibly not dealt with, it is now going to be connected to you as well. So for today, what I actually just wanted to discuss for a few moments for one flesh would actually be respecting your spouse. Respecting your spouse. And so let me give you a little bit of whatever on why I even got onto this subject. So speaking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about, Adam and Eve in the garden. And of course, talking about how, when Satan tempted Eve and Eve ended up eating the fruit, and of course, how they ended up being banished from the garden. My friend was mentioning, he made a question, and it was, who told Eve to leave the garden? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? They were banished because God told them to get out. And he was like, well, no, the Bible says that God told Adam to leave. God never told Eve to leave. So why did Eve go and leave when no one told her to? And I'm like, okay, well, when you actually look at, I think it's Genesis 3, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can get there really quickly. I was on something else. So I knew it talks about in Genesis 3:23. So depending on which translation, it says, so the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side, the angel with the flaming sword. So of course, certain translations, most of them do say him, but then some do say them. But even of course, then it's like we kind of know that in the Bible, even when it said him, a lot of times it was referring to women as well, knowing that women are known to be the weaker vessel. But again, his whole thing is no, well, God never told God never told Eve to leave. So I get that. So of course, now my argument, and even why the whole respect your spouse thing came to mind, is because I realized that, well, in this situation, I'll say, if that's her husband, and if she is the weaker vessel, if he gotta go, I gotta go. Like obviously the woman is supposed to go in that situation. She's gonna have to go wherever her spouse is actually told to go. You have to respect your spouse. Now, of course, when we look at Ephesians 5, I know like verse 22 through 24, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. And that's exactly what like in everything. So on social media, I've seen this same little meme and scenario circulating now for a couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. But it talks about, it's like a question that is posed to women. And it's saying, hey, say, you're a wife, you're at family dinner, your husband and your father get into an argument. Your husband storms out and says, let's go. But your father tells you to sit down. Who are you listening to? Any woman that says they are going to stay because their daddy told them to sit down is not ready for marriage. Respect your spouse. One flesh. These two are cleaving together. You leave your parents and you cleave. You are now one flesh. So after God, your spouse comes next before everybody. I know that there was another silly one that talks about, okay, your husband, when you cook dinner, who gets their plate first, the husband or the kids? First of all, everybody gets their plate at the same time. I mean, I put all the table, all the plate. Well, of course I'm single now, but I put all the plates on the table. Y'all come eat. I don't call anyone until all the plates are on the table. But that whole thing, like, that's garbage. And a lot of people I see with the whole, I don't care who you are, not even my husband is going to come before my kids. A real man wouldn't even want the kids to eat first. Like, if everyone's eating, like, hopefully you're actually eating dinner together. Like, I don't really think it should matter. But even if you're not, whatever, we're not even going there. But yes, I'm sorry to inform those who don't want to, whatever, as far as it's concerned, your husband, your wife, your spouse comes before the children. That's just the way it goes. That is the order. And that is why there is so much dysfunction. There's so much chaos. There's so much divorce. There's so much unhappy marriages and arguments and fights and whatever else, because people are trying to do things outside of the natural order. One flesh. The two of you should be coming together, mutually submitted to each other, the husband as the head, the wife as the weaker vessel, God at the forefront. That is just how it has to go. And then the kids come underneath it. It doesn't mean they get, treated like trash and like garbage or anything else. It just means they come after the wife. I mean, that's just whatever as far as that whole thing is concerned. I think the whole thing now, as I said, as far as respecting your spouse is concerned, is that women have to understand that a man needs respect. That is one of his most basic needs as a human, as a male. And this is coming from me, of course, knowing this, being, a dating and relationship coach, and, going through the whole coaching process and whatever, and really studying our habits, our mannerisms, and just male and female and gender roles and whatever else. But men are wired where, aside from freedom as well, but one of a man's most basic needs is respect. And we are commanded to give respect. And if you cannot respect your spouse, and if you cannot, even as a single woman, say now that you are going to respect your future husband on all levels and in all ways, then you're not yet ready for marriage. And I don't mean that to sound harsh, but I say it to sound real, because it's something that I myself had to learn at one point. I was somebody who already said, once I get married, I'm not submitting to no man, and I'm not doing this and doing that, and it's going to be equal and whatever else. And I don't like being told what to do, and no one's bossing me around. I think the problem is that a lot of us, we either have a warped vision and warped idea and notion of what submission is. We have not been properly taught what submission is. It seems to be one of those things that a lot of men like to drive that point. You don't know how to submit. You don't know how to submit. That's the only thing they know from the Bible is women submit. So a lot of us, we've had it spoken to us from men that aren't even submitted to God. We've had it said by men who don't even know how to show us love. We've seen, boyfriends and baby daddies use that phrase, and guys that we were dating, we've seen, abusive fathers and stuff use that. So for us, submission is like something we've already made up in our minds that we're not going to do. And when you truly study to see what the roles of a husband are and what a wife are, God's way, you will have a better you will have a better, I didn't even say inclination. You have a better idea, just whatever, of what marriage truly is all about when you look at the roles of a godly husband and a godly wife. Because let's be honest, we know that God owns the copyright to marriage, but people have started doing whatever they want with it. And now the state and the government and everyone getting involved in all this foolishness. So anybody can be a wife, obviously. Anybody can be a husband, obviously. Anybody can get married, say they're married, whatever. But if we're talking about marriage God's way, then that's a whole different ballgame. You're not allowed to rewrite the rules. You're not allowed to make it whatever you want to be, because if you don't do it his way, he's already not even in it. Because a lot of people right now are in marriages that God was never in. A lot of people are divorced because they knew that God was never in that marriage. So when you want marriage God's way, then yes, that woman assumes her place as the weaker vessel, but we need to stop seeing that as a bad thing. We have a place, we have a role, and the men have a role. And truth be told, I would much rather take my place than the things that a man has to do. I don't feel like provider and protector and doing this, and a lot's going to fall on me. Maybe because I don't know, I'm used to doing certain things within the confines of the home and whatever else. I don't know. But we need to stop looking at submission as being a bad thing. We need to make up in our minds now, hey, when I get married, I've waited all this time, or marriage is something that I desire. So I am looking forward to becoming one flesh and submitting to my husband. And I'm going to respect my husband now, even in my singleness. I'm going to make better decisions now because the decisions that I make now are going to affect my marriage. Then I'm going to make sure that I take care of my body and my finances and my peace and my happiness and all of these different things, my health. We have to make a lot of decisions now, better decisions now, because those things are going to affect the condition of your future marriage. Every decision that you make now, it is some type of seed that you are planting. Every word you speak, every action, every physical interaction, every single thing you do now is going to affect your future marriage. And we say certain things, we do certain things, and we act as if there's going to be no ramifications. I even did a coaching on that a couple of months ago, called Seeds, and getting single women to understand you have to plant good seeds if you want to see a good harvest. But if you're already talking about what you're not going to do, what do you think is going to happen? What type of husband do you think God is actually going to bless you with? Because if you're already talking about what you're not going to do you really think he is going to give you, a hardworking man and a man who is after his own heart and a man who knows, what it is to be provider and protector and everything else? But you've already got it made up in your mind. Oh, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. He's going to be happy if he get this out of me. It's going to be my way and whatever else. You will get exactly what you deserve. And I try to get women to understand there's a big difference between what you deserve and what you desire. And a lot of y'all are going to get what you deserve based off of the things that you say, the things that you speak, the things that you do, and the things that you are planting right now in this season. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So everything you're speaking is going to affect your future marriage. I don't know who it is you want to be married to, become the person that the person you're looking for is even looking for. Because whatever it is that you want, you have to find out, okay, the person that you want, would he want you? And if so, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about anything. One flesh, we have to know that we have to respect our spouse. Get that through your head now. And if you're struggling with that, pray and ask God to come in and change your heart. Pray and ask God that he would create in you a clean heart, that he would show you things about yourself that you might be oblivious to, because God knows you better than you know yourself. So there are certain things that you're dealing with and that you're struggling with that you might not even realize, things that are going to negatively impact your future marriage that you might be clueless about. You might not even have no idea that these things are setting you up for failure even now. But if you pray and ask God, he will absolutely reveal those things to you. He will let it be known. So take the time and do that so you can prepare now. That is what I do as a coach. As a coach for single Christian women and a minister for single Christian women, I love it. I help people to prepare while they pray, because everyone's praying, God bless me to be bless me. I want to get a good man, a good man, a good man, and whatever else. Okay, well, while you're praying for that good husband, I will prepare you to be a good wife. And as you wait, you need to also put in the work while you wait. And that's what a lot of us are missing. We're sitting there waiting and praying, but we're not preparing and we're not working. You got to be able to put in the work now. You have to be able to put in the work now, because there are so many things that a lot of us are missing now as it pertains. A lot of us are delaying our season. I can't get into that right now because I'm saving that for something else. But y'all, let's get it together. All right. One flesh, respect your spouse. Hey, connect with me at the jalministry.com/saved-single. You can follow saved_and_single on Instagram, saved and single-SAS on Facebook, the SAS Tribe, the private group on Facebook. Also, certified life, dating, and relationship coach with New Thing Life Coaching. Same thing, New Thing Life Coaching on Instagram, New Thing Life Coaching on Facebook. Follow me. You can subscribe to that site as well, newthinglifecoaching.com. Let's get it. I'll drop the link. I think I probably already did that. I don't know. For the Seeds coaching. And as well, if you also would like to know the 10 wrong ways to get a man, 10 things that you are doing wrong as it comes to, dating and men and stuff like that, grab your free training at bit.ly/single and frustrated. But God bless you all. I look forward to connecting, and you all take care. Bye.